Good morning, children. Today I am going to discuss with you Chapter 2 of English book Snapshots for class 11. And the chapter's name is The Address. So let's begin. The author of this chapter is Margo Minko. As you can see the picture, how Margo Minko looked in 1981. She was born on 31 March 1920. Her real name was Sarah Minko, and she was born in Ginneken, Netherlands. But she kept her pen name as Margo Minko. Her occupation was she was a journalist and a writer. In 1957, Minko published her first book, Het Bittere Krul, English meaning The Bitter Herb, in which a nameless character goes through war experiences reminiscent of the author's. The title of her later book, En His, An Empty House, refers not only to the demolished house that the protagonist finds after emerging from hiding at the end of the occupation, but also to the emptiness that she and her friend Yona experienced in the post-war years, to which was added the distance and sometimes even hostility displayed by many people in Netherlands towards returnees from the concentration camps. Concentration camps, were the camps of German Hitler. This phenomena was further described by Margo Minko in a collection of short stories, The Andere Kent, The Other Side. So this chapter, The Address, is just an adaptation. Existentialism imposes a spatial tightness on her work. The main characters, often survivors of the Holocaust, experience their lives as meaningless. Existentialism means to exist, to survive in every kind of situation. Holocaust means disaster. So the main characters, or often the survivors of the Holocaust, experience their lives as meaningless. Often they have survived the war only by a series of coincidences, while their loved ones have been murdered. Freda Bockstein, for example, in the novella De Waal, The Fall, manages by chance to survive the whole war without falling into the hands of the Nazis who have taken her husband's life. She dies, nevertheless, just before her 85th birthday by falling accidentally into an unprotected well. Let me tell you the summary of the chapter, The Address. The address begins with a victim of war going back to her native place. It is about a daughter who returns to her home in Holland. She goes there to search for her mother's belongings after the war. When she reaches her native place, she does not receive a warm welcome. She follows the address she has on her. It is house number 46 in Marconi Street. A woman opens the door and refuses to recognize the girl on the door. The author notices the woman wearing her mother's green knitted sweater. Thus, she became even surer that she was in the right place. So let's find out what happens in this chapter. Despite the author's resistance, the woman did not entertain her and closed the door on her. The author was going back when she starts thinking about the bygone days. She got the address from her mother years ago. After returning to her home post-war, she notices a lot of things missing from the place. Thus, her mother gives her an address of Mrs. Darling. She learns that Mrs. Darling is an old acquaintance of her mother. Thus, her mother handed over her all their valuable possessions to Mrs. Darling to keep them safe. Thus, after many years, the author thinks of going back to take them. Thus, after being told to go away by Mrs. Darling on her visit, she goes back once again. On her second visit, 15-year-old girl answers the door. We learn that the mother was not at home. Mother of that 15-year-old girl. The author told her about her wish to meet her mother. The girl takes her in the house. To the author's surprise, she notices a room full of things her mother possessed. The room was not similar, but the things were all very familiar. She started to feel so uncomfortable. She now had no desire to possess her mother's belongings. Thus, she leaves the home and thought of forgetting the address and the thought of ever getting those things back. Let's discuss the word meanings of the chapter before I start the explanation. Poignant means pathetic. Belongings, things that belong to her, like furniture and crockery. Evoke means to arouse. Resolve means to make up mind. Searchingly means curiously or doubtfully. Narrow opening means chink. Prevent, to stop. Absolutely means completely. Recognition, to identify or familiarity. Staring means looked fixedly. Isn't her means she is not the same woman or the right place. Fleetingly, for a moment or a short time. Probable, perhaps. Let's go off, to free someone. Musty, smelling or damp. Emerged means came out. Convenient, comfortable. Nodded, shook her head in agreement or approval. Cautiously, carefully. Bay window, a window forming a recess. Enamel, paint. Jamb, side post of the door or window. Struck, in something occurred. Various means several. Apparently, clearly. Acquaintance means familiar person. In one go means in one trip. Antique means old fashioned. Lugging means dragging heavy load. Vases, flower pots or ornamental vessel. Crick, muscle problem. Shook, to move. Insisted, pressed hard. Gradually, by and by. Unthreatened, with no fear. Glancing, watching. Curious, eager, about. Positions means goods or articles. Doing an errand means gone out on purpose for small jobs or small works. Now the word meanings of page number 13. Passage, covered veranda or gallery. Cumbersome, very heavy or difficult. Horrified, tilled with fear. Oppressed, troubled. Tasteless, way means clumsy or disorderly. Muggy, damp. Scarcely, hardly, at all. Pattern, design. Edge, border. Poured, put. Lid means cover. Antique means of olden times and a very precious thing. Fancied means liked. Pewter means zinc, an alloy made of tin and lead. Word meanings of page number 14 and 15. Cutlery, knives. Forks, spoons, etc. Intently, keenly, closely. Jingling, metallic sound. Objects, things. Instantly, at once. Severed, separated. Shreds, small pieces. Resolved, determined. So that's all, children, in this video. Rest we will continue in next video.